You know, you've said recently that these disasters have you wondering if the climate models on which we've all been relying are wrong. What did you mean by that?
You know, I think if you described to me what's going on now a few months ago, I would have said you're crazy.
Just a few months ago.
It sounds like a dystopian sci-fi novel.
The climate crisis, my friends, is the test of our times. And while some may still believe it is unfolding in slow motion, no, this test is now as acute and as existential as any previous one.
Record-breaking rainfall has caused severe flooding in parts of central China. More than 200,000 people in Hunan province have been evacuated to shelters.
Weather forecasters say it's the heaviest rainfall the region has experienced in 1,000 years.
This is what happens when the amount of rain that usually falls over the course of an entire year pours down within days.
Throughout Hunan province, streets have become surging brown rivers, swallowing traffic in their wake.
Many struggle to get out of the subway system themselves and back onto higher ground.
Images of passengers stuck inside underground train carriages with the water rising around them have shocked a country used to safe mass transport.
The deluge took the city and these commuters by surprise.
Its subway system now an underground river. Commuters standing for air.
A deafening explosion at this aluminium factory after a nearby river burst its banks. The floodwater mixed with chemicals, lighting up the night sky.
When the system was flooded at a frightening speed. China's leader, Xi Jinping, has described the situation as extremely severe. A year's worth of rain has fallen in the region within days.
More than a dozen cities in the central part of China affected, with Hunan's population close to 100 million.
On ground level, dramatic video shows a group of people attempting a rescue before the ground gives way beneath them. Across this city of 12 million, the rising floodwaters turn streets into raging rivers, trapping drivers in their cars and residents.
This is a rainy time of year in China and floods are an annual occurrence. But it's the record-breaking nature of this rainfall which has people worried, and these extreme weather events seem to be happening much more frequently.
When heat waves hit one of the world's coldest regions, you know something is not right. This is Siberia. 20 towns in the region are on fire.
Now, this is an area of land we're talking about here which is almost as big as the whole of Wales. More than 1.5 million hectares of land are burning after an unprecedented heat wave hit Siberia. In less than 2 months, the fires have spewed out around 150 megatons of carbon dioxide.
Such situations repeat themselves almost every year. We hear similar stories, and it's very hard to understand, what's the nature of these fires. I mean, and why they are repeating themselves almost every year.
As we speak, thousands of acres of forests are on fire in Canada, Russia, and the United States.
The heat wave is sucking moisture from roots and trees, creating a tinderbox in Siberia, usually one of the coldest regions on Earth.
That wind is driving the smoke to the eastern Siberian city of Yakutsk, famous for being the coldest city on Earth.
There's no consensus on what caused the fires. Some are blaming the drought, others are pointing the finger at rising temperatures.
Burning hotter, faster, and more explosive than ever before.
Those flames, coupled with the Canadian wildfires, are blanketing much of the United States with noxious smoke, affecting air quality and triggering health alerts thousands of miles away.
With hillsides ablaze, orange, smoke-filled skies hanging eerily, as so many pockets of the American West burn. More than 80 uncontained large fires are burning in 13 western states. More than 2.5 million acres burned so far this year. That's 720,000 some acres more than this time last year.
Firefighters say what's unfolding here is more than one disaster feeding off another. Historic drought is the perfect fuel for these epic conditions. But it's climate change creating infernos larger than ever, with vortex of smoke powerful enough to spawn their own weather systems. The unimaginable is becoming routine.
We're seeing hot days and heat waves like we've never seen before.
Toxic smoke drifts thousands of miles and chokes the east. The sun tainted red in its soupy haze. Our planet's beauty and its peril in one.
Just shy of 300 wildfires burning, with nearly 2,500 properties on evacuation order.
And with the situation growing more dire by the hour, First Nations leaders are joining the growing calls for the province to declare a state of emergency.
The water's subsiding in Western Germany, but overnight, more flooding in other parts of the country. High water in Bavaria, Saxony. In Austria too, towns, cities deluged.
The German Chancellor Angela Merkel has expressed shock at what she called surreal destruction caused by flash flooding on a visit to one of the worst hit towns.
It's shocking. I'm tempted to say the German language has no words to describe the destruction that's occurred here.
We have breaking news right now. The USGS is reporting a strong 6.8 earthquake that was just off the coast of Panama. The quake happened within the past hour. The epicenter is offshore, south of the border of Panama and Costa Rica.
Scientist at Texas A&M. Andrew, how much is climate change exacerbating the intensity of these floods and the heat and the fires?
Yeah, I mean, climate change is now a factor in every single weather event that occurs, and it's making heat waves worse, it's making intense rainfall worse, it's causing sea level to go up, it's acidifying the ocean. It affects everything that we experience now.
Around the mid-2030s, locations along the Pacific and Gulf of Mexico coastlines will experience rapid increases in high tide flooding frequency. The floods will sometimes occur in clusters lasting a month or longer, depending on the positions of the moon, earth, and sun, according to the JPL News article. Low-lying areas near sea level are increasingly at risk and suffering due to the increased flooding, and it will only get worse.